I'm Sarah Russell.
I'm JQ Walker.
Mint, and we are
The Neurodivergent Report, a research-based podcast by and for neurodivergent brains.
In each episode, we'll explore topics relating to neurodiversity and coping strategies by reviewing the literature and discussing current topics.
We will also have interview episodes where we sit down with experts in the field and listeners like you, with the hope that together we can all learn to heal in community.
However you are able to engage, thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Neurodivergent Report, your favorite research-based and interview-based podcast. I am one of your hosts today, here with my co-host,
Hello.
Sarah. And today we have a very special guest with us. Sydney, I'll let you take it away and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much for that, Jay. So hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you both today. And for anyone listening or watching, so I'm Sydney Elaine Butler. I am neurodivergent, and I was diagnosed with autism when I was 6 years old, which is quite uncommon actually for a girl passing, because now I'm not, I identify as non-binary as well, but I didn't really know what that meant, and I was just like, cool, this label. My parents didn't really know what it meant either. And I had to go to speech therapy, had to go to physiotherapy because I would speak too fast, couldn't say my R's, or walk on my tippy toes, sometimes still do, but really didn't understand. And there's other challenges and difficulties, but didn't really know how to address them. And then I remember in high school, I was masking quite a bit, but again, didn't know it was masking at the time. I wanted to be an environmentalist because at the high level, I've always wanted to change the world. And I thought environmentalist at the time was the way to go about it, but I didn't have the math grades. I was really struggling in math. So I also took a business elective when I was in school. I was like, oh, that actually somehow clicks with my brain, makes sense to me. Besides the accounting part, that was a nightmare. And the managing side of business, I was always intrigued by. And then my aunt actually, she works in human resources and was like, hey, maybe you might be good at human resources. You have good people skills, helping companies, helping organizations. I was okay. So
You're
then
probably good at rules.
Probably, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I did like rules, and it didn't make sense that I was kind of a rebellious phase also in high school. That's a story for another day. And so I started studying human resources at a college level. And then my college actually offered us a university degree completion program. And if that wasn't the case, I never would have thought I could get my degree because I needed smaller classrooms. And so it became more tangible to me to actually get that degree. And so I got my degree in human resources, and my advanced diploma is what we call it here in Canada. I'm Canadian. And so I realized that human resources and business as a whole wasn't inclusive to people like me. So being autistic, having some mental health challenges, and being BIPOC and what that looks like, being queer. So I focused on my disabilities because I was also at the same time, when I was getting my degree, I was helping kids, teens, and adults with disabilities and neurodivergent and recreational settings. And I was like, I really want to make the workplace more accessible for them, right? Because some of my adult participants would come to me and they would ask me to help them with their resumes. Once I told them, I gave them a high level of like, oh, I'm the person that helps you with your resume, or they can, knows HR things, the ends into getting a job. So I started doing that, and then I graduated from my degree in 2020. So you can imagine that was quite a time. What did I do? Yeah. What a time to be alive. I got my COVID puppy then, but I was still like, I need to make HR more accessible. And so I thought at the time I was going to go into each
Perfect
organization.
timing.
Yes.
Like everybody was like primed to hear that message in 2020.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, wow. Sorry.
Oh, good. And so I was like, okay, in my resume, I'm going to also include accessibility advocate, or I'm passionate about accessibility. But the market was so bad that it was hard to secure that job. And I was volunteering in the local HR association here, volunteer with them. They had an annual trade show, and actually ended up helping someone. And he's, I'm starting a startup, an HR tech startup. I'd love you to join. So I did that. He had so many different ideas and didn't really know how to follow through with them. I'm like, in hindsight, I'm like, he's probably ADHD or like some other neurodivergent that didn't mesh well with my neurodivergence. And so I was like, interesting. And he's like, okay, how about the HR stuff? And then we visit the accessibility stuff. but he still encouraged me to apply other places. He was paying me peanuts, like barely anything, for getting good experience, as you do in a startup, because you're bootstrapping, which means he was putting so much capital in, not getting much
Right.
return. And I was still applied to a nonprofit, and I got the job, but it was through we have the Canadian Summer Jobs Program, so they get funding from the Canadian government to people from 15 to 30 to get jobs and get that funding. And so I worked at the nonprofit for 8 weeks, and once that was, I was very transparent with them about my passion again for accessibility. So we have some legislation around accessibility in the province where I live, and so help rewrite that, make it better, improve it, add other accessibility resources for this company, both their clients and for the workers in the space. And then so that ended. Applying to additional jobs, I had an interview. I could just walk there, and so I went to that job interview. They're like, and then they called me and said, you just needed more HR experience. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to get more HR experience
If I'm not,
when I just graduated during the pandemic?
that
And
is
so-
such a common problem. I feel like in so many industries where it's like, yeah, it's an entry level position, but you need like 2 years of experience.
And it's happening more and more, and it's
Well,
it's
I
growing.
don't want to harp on AI, but it's really because people aren't reality checking, I think, before they post things.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have 15 years of experience in leveraging AI because that just doesn't exist. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of times I say it's like the job descriptions and these things are being used as a wish list instead of what they
Yeah.
actually need, or the previous candidate, not to the extreme point of Sarah's, how it's
CRISPR employees.
AI just was created. Some employees that they want the employee that they had previously was the employee either got fired, terminated, left for a reason. You don't want the same person in
Right.
that type of person.
Yeah.
And so I was seeing all these things, and so I actually started my own company called Accessible Creates. So because I had both the lived experience of having disabilities and being neurodivergent, while also knowing the HR game and knowing behind the scenes of HR. So I was like, I can really leverage both my experiences to really speak both languages and to really making sure that businesses are more accessible and inclusive for people like me and others. And so really by looking at policies and procedures, by doing trainings, coaching, and being able to speak to the neurodivergent and stable employees themselves and feel like I'm better than you. I get it. I know your experience. And that your experience best, and you know what you need. So once you need that push, and then on the flip side, being able to speak to human resources and to managers to be like, your processes are broken. Frankly, but say it in a more polite way, in a way they understand. Be like, your processes are not really, they're not standardized
They're not
enough.
optimal. They're not using optimal efficiency.
Yeah, exactly.
Your synergy is off.
They're not focused on their intended outcome. They're more focused on the procedures now than they are about well, why does this even exist?
And it's the procedure itself is you have the process, you have the high level process, but you really need to break down those procedures to be very clear to your employees and to your stakeholders, and they're just like, oh, what?
Whoa.
So that's a bit about me.
Amazing.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
we've dipped our toe in every pool that we're going to talk about today. So that's a great introduction.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go back for some breadcrumbs.
Sounds good.
Let's take it back.
Yeah. So specifically, I'm really interested to hear more about your diagnosis as a 6-year-old AFAB, assigned female at birth. How did you look, right? What sort of symptoms were popping up for you that got you evaluated?
Yeah, I can't even remember if I'm being 100% honest with you.
It
so long
sounds like
ago.
you were
But I think it was really,
not
this-
advanced, but ahead.
it was the advanced. I think it was really the speech issue and the tippy toes and the meltdowns in hindsight. But not if I didn't understand something or I didn't want to do something, I just want to do it. Sensory issues was a huge thing. I remember one time I was at the mall with my mom. My dad used to work on Saturdays, and my mom said, "Okay, Saturday morning, we're going into the mall," and that's just what she wants to do. We did other activities. I remember vividly going to the mall every weekend, and I was like, the lights, the mall, I didn't. And my mom was wearing sunglasses, but she's like, but with me, she's like, oh, she was wearing sunglasses. She's like, you're fine. You don't have, like the lights aren't that bad. Like, which, it didn't affect me
Yeah.
because she was wearing sunglasses, but because she thought maybe I was just being too erratic, or even though she was having the same issue.
Right.
And so because my mom's also, so I'm biracial, so my dad's a white man and my mom's a black woman. So it's how the societal norms. And so I was like, but mommy, the lights are so bright. She's like, I know, but like, you'll be okay. Or even
Mm.
like, I remember I had to put socks on to go to the mall to begin with and put my shoes on. I hate socks. And I think the biggest thing was that, so at that age too, and then, like from being born pretty much till I was like 8 years old, my mom used to dress me. She's like, "You gotta go to the doll," right? Because that's mom's dream. That's my mom's dream.
Mhm.
Dress me up and put me in fancy outfits. And so we would go to the mall, and she would want to buy me an outfit. And I remember literally having some of the outfits. So I would try to touch the fabrics, and I'd have a visceral reaction to it. I'd be like, "Ugh, itchy, bad." I was like, bad, bad, bad. That was such a sensitivity to certain fabrics
Mhm.
was such a huge concern. And then even when I got the diagnosis, like having sensory overload or having sensory underload, right, and having being understimulated, I didn't know what it was still, right? And I'm like, and my parents didn't know either. So, but it's just like that, because they said it's like part of the diagnosis, but then it really explained what was happening with that.
Yeah.
And Sarah's talking
Even
before, but the
still, I feel like
humidity.
there's such not an understanding of sensory processing and what that
Mhm.
really means. So I get that.
Yeah, and and then my hair was really long and all these different things, and some of it feels like something's crawling on my skin, and the moments that I would feel like the skin was just dirty and bad, or like so icky being in my own
Yeah.
skin, but didn't know what that meant. And I would literally just call them my gross attacks. I'm like, I'm having a gross attack. No one touch me.
I
No one
have
look at me.
the
No one.
ick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the diagnosis.
Journey.
It's
Like,
still a journey.
still a journey.
Yeah, like was the school involved? I think I'm dancing around a question here. Like we're let's see. So I'm just putting out an episode on Friday where we
Hmm.
talked about basically how Black people tend to get diagnosed with conduct disorders and white people tend to get diagnosed with ADHD or autism. And I guess like the biracial folks are getting left out of that question. So, but it sounds like, yeah, you were still identified as autistic, I think, even though it was likely your mother taking you to these appointments.
Yes.
Nobody like was blaming her for your behaviors. I'm not sure.
Oh,
Maybe then Canada
well,
is better than the US. Like,
Mhm.
what changed?
Or like
so I
the
think that's
onus was
why.
on her to to help make
Mhm.
you be less of like a
Mm.
nuisance or something like that. Is
Yeah,
that
I think like how like the sunglasses in the ball situation or like different things, you know, didn't it's like we got that diagnosis because my dad also came to those appointments, he's very much involved. But I think like she was trying because she knows how hard it is to be a Black woman in society, right? And how and then she's like the neurodivergentness and adding that to the equation, she was terrified, and people would already point
I
like
see. So I just want to
those
go over
polls.
that again. You did confirm that your dad was going to those appointments as well.
Yes.
And I wonder if sort of his privileged position in society buffered you
I
a
think
little
it did.
bit.
I think
well,
it in so many aspects of our
I just
lives,
want to
really.
acknowledge that because, like, that is such a loving thing for a parent to do.
Mhm.
Um, to like sacrifice like whatever. It's like the
Yeah.
bare minimum what they're supposed to do, but
Mhm. Yeah.
there's just a bunch of them who aren't doing that. So
Mhm.
I'm just loving on your parents, I think, for a minute.
yeah.
Amazing. So the next thing I have on my list of my notes are hilarious. So you gave a talk at the Pentagon?
That's quite the jump.
That almost sounds like it happened by accident.
So
How did you get that?
Yeah.
Like, how did you find that opportunity? I think.
the opportunity came to me.
Yeah,
Um,
amazing.
so there's a thing called Power to Fly that I believe is based in the States, and it's a company that like DIB Solutions. It helps HR managers, staff with like all areas of diversity, equity, and belonging, and all that good stuff.
Mhm.
And I made a post after I finished the nonprofit on LinkedIn about Disability Pride Month, how to be a better ally to the disabled community. I was like, I know I would probably get some traction, but I didn't think much of it. I was like, I want to post it because I want to showcase this is on my LinkedIn, get reach to the right people. Awesome, amazing. That's what I ideally want it to happen, but you never know.
Yeah.
The algorithm and all these things. So I was like, and people already in my network, or as I was growing my network and going to networking events, they liked it and interested in it. But someone saw it that wasn't in my network and reached out to me because they saw that post, and I'm just like, because a lot of my network was actually reposting it and or commenting on it and
Wow.
sharing it. And so she worked for the company in the States, but she was actually in Canada. So she's like, another Canadian, this is amazing. Would you be interested in speaking about neurodiversity in the workplace? I was like, because I really like the thing you did. Would you be interested in come speaking? The AB contract I have a nonprofit just ended. I'm still applying for jobs. And I was like, yeah, I could. She's like, there'd be an honorarium of like $400. Is that okay? I'm just like, and she's like, it would be an hour talk. And I was just like, sure, I could do that. So I
Yeah.
did that. And then I went back for the next 2 years, but I did different topics. I talked also about neurodiverse, how to make a more neurodiverse friendly work environment. I talked about PTSD beyond the army, what that looks like. And so I did the last one, the PTSD beyond the army one. And a person reached out to me saying, hey, I saw your talk on Power to Fly. I'm from the Pentagon. I
like,
would love
oh.
you to
Aw.
come speak in October for National Disability Employment Awareness Month. I'm just like, I'm in my childhood. I was working in my childhood bedroom. My dog was right by my feet.
So surreal.
It was the beginning of the year, like January. It was like the first Wednesday of the work year in January. I'm like, what? I'm like, am I still sleeping in my bed right now? Like, is it like a real?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Wow.
and I'm like, does she know I'm Canadian?
Oh,
Like, all these things went through my brain, right? And so, I met with her, and I was just like, oh, can you talk me through what that would kind of look like doing a session on disability inclusion and neurodivergent include in the workplace, right? I'm like, this is kind of what it would look like. This is what I've done before. I can send you a formal proposal when I'm done. Send you a formal proposal. But I think
Wow.
it would be best for what you're asking. And she's like, well, can you tell me roughly what that would cost? And so I said an amount, and I thought was like, this is
That
way too
must have
high.
been
Like
hard.
that was, and I had to think on. I kind of thought it before the meeting, like casually, but I didn't really put too much thought into it at the same time because I was just like, whatever happens. And then I was like, do I ask them to budget it? I mean, she asked me. I'm just like, oh, I guess I have to give an answer on the amount.
You on the
So I
spot.
said an amount. And she's like, yeah, that seems doable. I'm just like, because for context, and also in Canada, Canada's they're so
The
similar. But so
exchange
different.
rate is a
The exchange
factor.
rate, the exchange rate is a huge factor, and also in Canada they're not willing to pay as much. Like they pay, but the amount for like a session that she's requesting would be like less than triple that, right? That I asked for
Sure.
in this context. And so I was like, she's not gonna go with that, but like maybe. So she's like, yeah, that should be fine. I'll let you know. When you send me the proposal, I'll let you know if that's all good. Then you can send me another agreement, and about let you know if the amount's approved. So I sent her the proposal, and I was just like, I'm like, shit. And I'm like, she's not gonna accept it. She's not gonna accept it. The Pentagon's not gonna accept it. Right? And the team department there. And she's like, yep, that's no problem. I'm just like, it makes sense because it's, but I was
but
just
still,
like, I'm just like, that
It's
was
not
another,
like we're built
what?
with that natural confidence though. So like
Exactly.
you're constantly waiting for it to just like not go
You're
your
always
way. Because
always
that's
waiting for the penny
usually
to drop.
yeah.
It was like, okay,
It's
where's the catch?
the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, it was especially too because I was supposed to do a training for another American company. That I was so excited to do, and that was gonna be like the biggest training I've done so far for a United States company based in the United States.
But
And
that
then they
evaporated.
They pushed the training back, and I was like, okay, no problem, it happened. And then the company went bankrupt, right? So I was not holding out much hope now for this one. So I'm just like, it went wrong before, it go wrong again, but I did it. It was virtual. I got to do it with my dog underneath my feet. Cuddled her right after, just like, did I really just do that? My admin came to see it. I was like, and it was one of the most surreal days. Oh, I saw the day of the week of the training too. When I spoke there, I got sick. That was the catch. I got sick.
Oh,
So I did have a bit of a sore throat, so sometimes I had to go off camera. But they were all so gracious and all so understanding, and and I just like went off camera, went on mute, had a little cough, came back, did my thing, and I was just like, really, I have to cough right now and be sick during the session. That's like a dream come true. But I'm crushing it at the same time, like having that
yes.
the confidence finally set in, and then so then she said the feedback after the session, and they're like, oh, we would love to continue doing the session every year, la la la, but you know what happened. But who's
Right.
in the office?
We know the
Yeah.
state of things now. So,
Yeah.
Sure.
yeah.
Well, it's sort of a pendulum. So I'm expecting it to swing back the other way. And I'm sort of really excited for future opportunities. I'm trying to just stay anchored in that
Yeah.
messaging a lot lately because there are so many
Mhm.
other distractions and not
Mhm.
not even distractions, okay? Like there are really terrible things that are happening in the world that I can't do anything about. No. And so rather than let myself spiral downwards and just get sucked into it for too long, I sort of I do a little bit of mindfulness with it. I'm like, oh, I'm observing this thing that is happening. I'm having a reaction to this thing that is happening.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I know logically I can't do anything. So
And
let's
that's
focus
hard, and
on
that
something else.
that's
The
so hard
podcast
because
or
it's it's something that you have to keep doing too.
yeah.
It can be
Mhm.
a lot.
Yeah. Oh, it's exhausting. I was hearing a lot of things that really worked for you. So, one, you were using LinkedIn in a
Yes.
way that felt comfortable to you.
Yeah.
You didn't tell me the story that you were doing a 30-day challenge. You were just like, "No, I just posted this and it
Yeah.
got
And
traction." And I love that for
Organically,
you.
and
yeah.
even on the I have another story with kind of the reverse of that because I got up this. I think posting on LinkedIn authentically that makes sense to you, right? And it's just
Mhm.
it's like I had a coach, and well, it was like a free coaching program. And I had the friends, and I was like, oh, I'll try this coach. She's like, do micro posts, and so I started doing micro posts like every day. I'm like, that no, like I did, and those did well. But just like if I want to do a micro post, and I was trying to do a micro post every 2 months or like whenever inspiration strikes, but I'm like, I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
them every day.
Mhm.
Um, and there's posts that you make because I got reached out by another client that it was like, what, this is a potential client that wants to work with me. They found me through this post and went back to look at the post. It got 5 likes. That person that reached out to me didn't even like the post, didn't engage with it anyway, but they still saw it and resonated with the content,
Mm.
didn't actually interact
Wow.
with it, but inspired them to send me an email and be like, why don't you do a session?
Oh my
And
god.
so I think it's just like, that's it. I say that not as saying that as like, post the content that makes you light up, make
Yeah.
the content that makes you happy. And the people and the opportunities that are meant for you that align with you that will come. Right. And I know
Yeah.
it's a very difficult market and very hard right now with everything happening. But I still truly believe, like even how I'm on the podcast with you all today. Right. And
Yeah, and it wasn't even instant gratification in
yeah.
either.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also, I think that you are very much touching on something that I think I hear a lot of people talk about authenticity. And I think that what you're saying is true in a lot of different aspects, whether it's like making friends or like finding like a
Mhm.
job that works for you. Like if you are really leaning into like what you're good at, who you are, it might take time, but you will find those opportunities like that that mesh well with you. The bigger conversation about authenticity, there is a lot of talk that I've seen at least about people
Mhm.
being frustrated with like, I need to build my brand and I need to post blah 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 because that's how that you're successful.
That's
Instead of
how it
just being
works.
like
Mhm.
naive and saying that that doesn't matter at all. But I'm saying that there is a healthier balance of knowing how to play the game, but also being authentic and being yourself and not forcing yourself to interact in a way where it doesn't feel like you.
Yeah, and it's like if you by posting every day, like it's good for consistency, and the consistency is so important.
Hmm.
But as disabled people, and as as human beings, particularly, because we
Yeah.
have such a complex lives, we're all busy and have things besides work and, things to focus on, and just hang out with the family, hang out with the dog. The dog is just
Yeah.
the right room. And just, if kind of like setting yourself up for the success you want, right? And I think sometimes, I'm going to quote Naira Rivera from her book. She's like, success is, I just blank what the quote is. Wait, success, my brain just, it's like success is really up to you, if that's what she's getting at. Success looks different for everyone. And it's important to recognize, like, there's ideals of success and like what society has said is successful,
Hmm.
but there's also take a step back. So what is successful to you? Does it look like posting on LinkedIn every day? And it's to build your brand.
Yeah.
When I was starting, was posting every day because that this was expected, and that's the tips. If you want to be a business owner, you have to post every day on LinkedIn and all these different channels. But it's not sustainable, right? And it's also like make good content, make content that makes you proud, and it's also like, oh, okay, the person has other priorities that they're focusing on, so they can't post every day. Really bringing the human back into these elements, into bringing it back into business and into life, frankly, like,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't post as much as I used to on LinkedIn. I probably post like once every 2 weeks, and sometimes I still feel that I see other people posting all the time. I'm like, should I be posting every day? Like, I'm like, that's not sustainable for me. I would not be resentful because I love my job so much and love what I do, but it would definitely make me be like more burnt out, make me more resistant to doing the things I want to do. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I very much relate to that. Like that, like, I think that like with this podcast specifically, like we are able to break up work between like there's me, Sarah, and also Hind, and like three of us break up stuff pretty well. But I do like voiceover stuff, and there's like a huge part of it that people talk about is like the promote yourself thing. But then that kind of goes back into like, do you have the energy for that? Do you have the resources for that day? Especially if like you're grinding to try to get more contracts and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a tough balance.
Yeah, I would say it's not super accessible to like burn yourself out. Like one thing I used to focus on a lot in ADHD coaching is that we all have like an executive functioning budget for the day. Like we have a limit of cans, and like if we're wasting it on tasks like posting on social media that don't really meet the goal, like what is our goal? What is our intended outcome? Well, for me, it's to like reach people and to like share the things that I care about. And I don't need to do that every single day. Yeah, I don't know. And I think
sure.
another thing that you said, Sydney, is you can post it, but then like it lives on, right? Like people can find you a year later from that post.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, even so like, and I so I went back again when the fact of that post was like, again, I only got like 5 likes, and I'm just like, I liked the post. I thought it was a good post. Kind of showed this potential client, right? Then becoming a client, and even if it didn't end up getting the client, which is I can now have a cool story. But I'm like, I'm so proud of that post that I made. It's content that lit me up, right?
Yeah.
And so it, yeah, the right opportunity to find you, and I think, but like putting yourself out there in a way that makes sense for you, and showing up in ways that make sense for you any given day, right? And so the full transparency, I had a 15-minute nap with my dog before this conversation,
Yeah.
like, to be like, okay, quickly in charge. My
Yeah.
dog's like, yep, let's handle, and, had a quick nap.
Yes. I love that.
That sounds nice. I was thinking about that, but maybe I'll take one after.
Yeah.
I've been having a hard time stepping away. Like I'm in that stage of content creation where I just like
Yeah.
have a bunch of ideas and they're all like partially done. And so it's gotten really hard to like step away, which is a great place to be. But I'm just mindful that if I don't intentionally step away, then I won't be able to start. Right? Like it's
Well,
going to get
yeah.
harder. Yeah, it's going to get harder for me to have the motivation to like jump into that work if I also don't know how to stop myself when I
Well,
need to.
yeah. So I I love to do lists. Like love to like I have, and I started actually even labeling my tasks. Like, okay, this is the time I have to do the task. And I literally I have a self-care to-do list. Otherwise my self-care won't get done. Right.
Yeah.
Which it needs to do my self-care. I need to move my body in the morning. I need to do my workout. If it's 15 minutes, so 60 minutes, whatever it looks like that day, depending on how I'm feeling. But
I
it needs to
love
get
the
done.
flexibility.
Right. Because this is something like I'm like, oh, I want to sleep in, so then maybe I can only get a 15-minute workout. Still have to walk the dog every morning, so that's part of the calculation. But it's just like, what does it actually look like? And so, but sometimes I get so caught up, like, with my work tasks. I'm like, I have to do this at 3:50 p.m., right? And so actually, I just got a mentor through we got the Black HR professionals here, and I met with him for the first time last week. And he's like, just choose 3 things a day that you really need to get done. I'm just like, what? I'm like, I'm a business. I have so many things to do. Like, what do you mean? And I have this new part-time job. Like, I have to and take care of the house and all these different things. And then just choose 3 things a day. I'm in just starting the process of doing that
Yeah.
and focusing on. So I'll let you both individually know how that goes. But it's already kind of like I'm like, okay, what if I get nothing else done? 3 things. He only said one. He said 1 to 2, but I'm starting with 3 because
I could do
it's
3.
good to do. I'm like, so I actually texted. He's like, it's a starting place. I was like, okay, good. And so, what are the 3 things I have to work on today for work? What are 3 things for my self care? What does that look like? And really, and so you point, Sarah, of all the ideas you have for your creation, choose 3 things a day that you really want to focus on. Like doing this podcast, right? You're doing the content creation right now, right?
Yeah.
Have a nap after this, like, before
Oh
you
my
the
God, that's
kids.
so true.
You're doing it.
So,
Wow, it's all happening. Thank you.
This is a bit of a side tangent that today has just been like, I just feel like I have so much on my mind, and I feel like all I can like. Usually, I contribute. I feel like a lot more to conversations, and I feel like all I really kind of have the energy for right now is taking stuff in. I don't know. I feel like my brain is just like working in like low power mode today.
but by taking
Oh, that's
things
just
in,
me.
by taking things in, you're like adding to it. You're like reframing, how I said things or how Sarah said things, and really
Oh,
adding different lens, adding your own lens to it. And so I think we have the tendency to see also beat ourselves up. It's like I'm not strong enough
yeah.
as much as I used, right? But you're adding so much to the conversation and adding, and even what you just said and being that vulnerable and that, right? And so adding that
Mhm.
element and just I feel like sometimes we again our productivity is tied to what we think. Like again, that standard what productivity
What's
is or
expected of us.
what's the conversation, what's my role in the conversation, what we fit or those roles we have in our everyday lives or in different settings.
Yeah.
It's like we're allowed to show up differently. So I've been started a part-time job in April, but we went on site for the first time yesterday, and I was like, so I'm a facilitator there, but my other co-facilitators like saw that I was kind of low energy, so I still facilitated things, but I did it from a chair, and she was at the front of the room, and she's like, "See where you are, and I'll take the reins today. You can add your 2 cents. So I believe in you to add what you think is relevant, what's beneficial, just
Mhm.
like you are doing, Jay, right? So,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. You saying that. Thank you.
This is a really great teachable moment. I love how just direct we're able to be with the communication. And
Oh
like
yeah.
how and I think it's only just because we are comfortable with each other and it's super normalized in this space for us just to be like, hey, I feel like
Yeah.
soup, low energy soup. And yeah, I don't know. That's why I love this space. And I think that actually people will enjoy listening to this a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
again,
also even to the
authenticity,
yeah,
radical.
it's even to the point where like I feel like especially working in a lot of like corporate America jobs, like I'm so used to like, okay, I'm on camera. Eye contact is weird for me. So it's like I'll smile and nod, but like be looking, but still be like looking up relatively, or I can just stare into the camera because I'm not staring into anybody. I could be staring at like the doorknob in my background, like
hmm
right over here, But like I've noticed that like even that today is hard. And I feel like a lot of the time I've just been like staring like down and listening. And I think that I still have some like worry about like, oh, I want to make sure that like they know that like I'm excited to be here. I love this conversation, but because I'm not, especially because Sarah knows me and I'm not like contributing as much
hmm
and I'm looking down, that I don't know if that's like an internalized like ableist thing or something, but yeah.
You're, like, super aware that your mask isn't on and you feel
Yes.
naked.
Yes,
hmm
basically. Yeah.
I feel yeah. Sometimes it's just like, but I feel like a lot of what I've learned in life is like, unless someone really knows you or really, and it kind of, but if it's like if the person really knows you, they might notice it, but it's from a place of care, right? And those
Yeah.
that don't know you don't know that you're that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all get more in our heads about it than what's actually happening.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that translates into the workplace as well because the misconceptions of masking the workplace and how that leads to burnout and what that actually looks like, and
Mhm.
having the conversations. It's recognizing again those social norms and those aspects. It's like why is that? Why when you're in a meeting, like you said, corporate America, Jay. It's like in a meeting, I feel I have to constantly look at the camera, be alert. It's like everything gets some more places now realizing, okay, you can have your camera off. You can, if you
Yeah.
need to have fidget toy, like you play with a fidget toy, um, for better focus, and just having things in place, and people process things differently
Yeah.
regardless of the neurodivergent or not, right? And
Yeah.
also processing speed depends on how much sleep you got, how much food,
Yeah.
if your belly's full,
Your
all these other,
hormones.
exactly,
Right.
like there's so many things.
And
Fun.
especially because like I mean, we were just meeting with actually a childhood friend of mine. We're gonna do a podcast episode with
Mm,
her, but talking about like hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. There's a lot of like
mhm.
comorbidities too that affect like
Oh,
your ability
speaking
to.
of
Yeah,
EDS,
Yeah, I know.
fix my
Like
posture.
your energy level. So exactly what you're saying too with like these accommodations, which really don't. These are really not big things to ask for, whether it's like fidgeting or just having an expectation of not being like alert, or even the idea of not being on camera. Like I think that that actually helps me a lot of the time. But you always get into this like I think that a lot of, I was gonna say neurotypical people. I'd say a lot of maybe employers would think, oh, well, if this person gets to do it, then everybody gets to do it. Or it would be unfair. And of course, it's the conversation
mhm,
about like equity and not equality. But then also, like, I get frustrated when people say, we can't implement this system or we can't implement this thing because people will abuse it. Because people are going to abuse any system and um, you can't proactively like prevent, like figure out every single possible way that
yep.
people could misuse something. You have to implement the system because people need it, and then react to how people are misusing it and
Yeah,
find
I
ways
have
around
a
it. Because like what that kind of tells me, and granted, not, I'm sure not everybody thinks this way, but like the way it comes
mhm,
across is you don't see these people struggling as enough of a problem to
yeah.
take the effort to adjust when people are misusing a system.
Yeah,
But
I have a client and I just wrote an accommodation policy with them, but they were so like, it's about time that we have this. Well, that's kind of it's two different approaches. Again,
yeah.
people are different. So the one is like, she's like, I'm so excited that we have an accommodation policy in place now, and we're in the process of rolling it out. That you help us create it based on your lived experience and your previous work in human resources and knowing accommodation policies and all that good stuff. And the other one kind of is just like, again, to you what you said, Jay. What if people abuse the system? Right? And it's like, well, right now, you're still offering accommodation to people that really need it, but they don't. The people that other people that really need it, are they sometimes like, well, we have like extreme cases of accommodation, but most people don't ask us for accommodation. I'm like, because you don't have a process in place and you don't have that system in place to actually offer that. Meanwhile, they show me
Crazy
all the
thought.
they had quiet rooms, they had nose canceling headphones for their employees, they had all these amazing things in place, but that wasn't being told to the employees, right? And so there's such a disconnect because it's like they didn't want people to take advantage of the system,
Yeah.
but it's like you have to let people know the system's there. And again, like I said, work around that system, see what's working, see what's not working, training, have ongoing communications of what that actually looks like and what that means, right? And
Yeah.
so, and really meeting people where they're at, I think is such a crucial part of accommodation and supports in the workplace. But I think a lot of times, again, society's conformity, like you have to kind of shape and mold you to the job. The job should be able to, have some flexibility around you as well, right? And recognize that again, well, human beings have complex needs and wants and things we need to succeed, and that's okay. And what does that actually look like in the context of work? So that's where I usually come in and really have these conversations with human resources. Be like, this is what's happening. This is what's happening in your workplace. And sometimes they're like, oh, well, we don't have any neurodivergent disabled employees. Well, it's like, well, I can guarantee you
Well,
do.
first of
You
all,
just don't
that's
know.
not true.
Exactly. And it's like which systems do you have in place to make it sure it's a safe environment for us, right? And for these
Totally.
individuals in your workplace. And so it's very interesting.
I went on a whole nother face journey about the what if people abuse it comment, because like that's
Mhm.
well then good. Well then maybe they'll do even better at their job than
Mhm.
they normally do. We used to use just regular phones. There were no video calls to do conference calls in the 90s.
Yeah,
Y'all were fine with it
Mm.
then.
we'll be okay
Let's
with it now.
not
And it's like,
let's move
and it's
on.
if someone's presenting or like wants to say, hey, I would like people to be on camera if possible. Like usually I'm like, I'd like to see faces when I'm presenting, but I'm like, if
I
possible, I
really
would like,
need
I
like
would,
that input too, yeah.
yeah. So like, I need that input to know I'm on track, to see the reactions. Or if you don't want to be on camera, we have the chat if you feel comfortable.
Yeah, like with like
I
a
would
little
like
emoji
some,
or something.
yeah, I would like some feedback, but it's like if you really need the camera off, I completely understand. But again, having these conversations and having the conversation with that one-on-one case, I think a lot of times what the issue is that companies want to kind of like streamline and standardize so many processes being people, right? And how people go about their day to day, right? And so I just like you can't
Wow.
standardize and streamline everything. But it's like you can have things in place and have things the way, and it's like is it a want or is it a need, right? And I think that goes also with the organizational culture and what's expected. And it's like, well, why is that the case? Again, like why do we have to have the cameras on all the time? Is it like you said, Sarah, these just the phones in the 90s? Like I think it's like, okay, you have to have your camera on 'cause, during the pandemic and how we continue working from home now. But it's like, how were these societal and these expectations created? And really taking that, it's like, who is it benefiting when we have these things in place?
Yeah.
How can we modify it on an individual basis as well and have that flexibility?
Mhm.
Flexibility is so important in the workplace for neurodivergent and disabled employees, but also just any employee, right? And so really
Yeah. I mean,
being
I
aware of
think
that.
I think a lot of like you were saying, like, oh, who does this benefit? And honestly, I think a lot of it ends up coming down to like not even benefiting, but it's like we did this, we like paid our dues, and this is how we did it. So you have to do the same. Like you can't get it easier. And
Mhm,
that's something now. It's kind of a broader conversation about different
mhm,
generations, where there's a lot of like older generations who always say to the next one, like, "Oh, you have it so easy, or we did it this way. Now you guys have." And it's like, wouldn't you want life for humans to be easier? Like, don't you
mhm.
want the natural progression of the quality of life for humans to be better the more we understand about ourselves and each other. Like
And
that's
it's interesting that they're like we suffered, we had to go through this, and then it's like, but then they complain at the same time what they had to go through.
true, true.
So it's just like technology is advancing, all these things, like even like note takers and AI note takers.
Oh yeah.
One of my clients was like, I have multiple clients, that I have like three different note takers sometimes in a room.
Yeah.
And the client was like, so there's so many. Then they were like, oh, maybe we can actually start using note takers for meetings with our companies, but it seems very beneficial, right? But they, because meanwhile, she was writing notes in our meeting. I was like, well, I could send you these notes after, and the AI, it's like, it's not gonna be perfect, right? And maybe some
Mm-hmm.
spelling mistakes will like not fully pick up what's said, but it's still better. But it's like if you learn by writing and you want to write down, go ahead, and that's how you process things. Great, amazing.
Yeah.
But there's also tools, and for some people, it's like, can I fully focus on the meeting? I can listen. I'm more engaged. I don't have to quickly scribble things down. Can I fully engage with you, have a full conversation, get the major takeaways, and then implement what you want them to implement, right? And that doesn't just go for me as a consultant, but goes for employees as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People aren't really capable of listening, taking notes, and engaging with other people with their
Mm-hmm.
voice. Like, we're constantly switching between those activities and, like, to varied success. It doesn't always
Hmm.
go so well. Yeah, I think that everybody should be using accessibility tools, and most people probably are using some kind of assistive technology and they just don't
Don't even
even
know.
realize it, like talk
Well,
to
I
text.
talk to text or even dark mode. Like
Dark mode,
dark,
yes.
I always use that example because it's like dark mode
Dark mode is
everywhere on all my
Yeah,
devices.
life.
And then I had a client was just like, oh, I saw that one day you can make the screen dark, and I kind of like that. It was better for my eyes. That's an accessibility feature, right? And they were like, well, I thought that was just like an appearance. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's accessibility.
But it
Yeah.
would be nice if like all accessibility things are like, no, this is just a whatever thing, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. You don't have
Yeah.
to build in accessibility if like you just make it
Mm.
for everybody from the beginning.
Yeah.
Anyway. I love this conversation. We've been all over the place, but it's in such a wonderful way. We already started talking a little bit about some of the nervous system stuff that you do for yourself personally. You know, you mentioned that movement is like a big part of your routine. Your puppy also got a little bit of co-regulation going on
Very,
as well.
very,
But I'm wondering if there's anything else that you wanted to talk about in terms of
yeah,
like
I
how
think
you're coping these days.
coffee is a huge one.
Yeah.
And then so I do move at the beginning of my day. So like my workouts in the morning, my yoga, and then I try to have a dance party. Just
Hey!
shake it up because there's such a difference when
Discharge.
and it's, as I said, I love my to do list. But so I started putting on my to do list, which you think interesting because in that instance, I was like, okay, like I said, I have some self care to do list, but sometimes I'm like, for that, I'm like, it has to be spontaneous. I have to feel it, and like, I have to really listen to my body. But now's the time to have a dance party. Now's the time to, move around in that way,
Yeah.
How do
and
you
not.
know? When does your body tell you it's time?
Oh, good
And I can,
question.
like, I just feel it. I just like
Like,
feel a little
and
sluggish,
no, opposite.
sluggish, yeah, like
Okay.
sluggish, like like dropping my head, like you said, and then it's like, okay,
Ooh,
I need that
I
dance break.
relate to that motion.
And I might, like you said, like it's the opposite. Because a lot of times people, like you said, like people think, so like you want to move. It's just like I'm so sluggish. I'm like, if I
You gotta like
like one time,
jumpstart.
like one time, my partner was here, and I was already working. He was still asleep, and he's like, "I'm supposed to be working." I'm like, "If I don't dance right now, I'm not gonna be able to work. Like this is
Yeah.
not gonna happen." Because
I'm warming
you're still
up.
in bed, and you're still in bed. I just want to get back in there with you. Like I need to have a dance, and I had to. It was like I did it for like 15 minutes, right, to some of my favorite songs. Otherwise, I was like, I started working. I was like, I can't. Even though I did my workout and I did, that morning, that wasn't enough movement for me. So I
Yeah.
needed to do more.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you've got lots of different options. You've got like a flexible schedule,
Mhm,
routine or whatever. And you know that like based on what your body is telling you, you can reach for this, you can reach for
mhm,
this. I love that. So it sounds like, yeah, it sounds like movement is big for you. For me lately, I live in Connecticut right now. It's
mhm,
like luscious, like temperate rainforest. It's about to get really hot, but like right now it's gorgeous and I can just look and see so many leaves. Like, I lose myself thinking about all the leaves. And that is like I think that's like a combination regulation exercise. You know, it's
mhm,
got like mindfulness elements, it's
mhm,
got, the forest bathing and the eye
mhm,
stimulation components. But yeah, in case anybody needs sort of some inspiration, some more opportunity or some more options is the word I was looking for, some more options to put on your
mhm.
sort of movement routine. Get it going.
Yeah.
Jay, do you want to throw anything in there for when you're feeling like molasses?
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, I feel like usually walking is like the go-to.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like, I mean, I have two cats and like they're always down to play. So sometimes just like their favorite toy is a string. So just grabbing a string and like running around the apartment with them.
So easy.
Yeah.
So, if anybody is listening and they want to find you on the internet, where should they go? Your LinkedIn.
Yes, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Sydney Elaine Butler. My website is accessiblecrates.ca, and you can also follow me on Instagram at accessiblecrates.
Amazing. You guys better go follow
On
her.
Instagram. Amazing. I think I think we already are on all the
Yeah.
things. So that's great.
Yeah.
Check.
Awesome. Well, now is it card pull time?
Yeah, now we can do card pull.
Yeah.
So again, one of the sort of rabbit hole topics that we talked about at the beginning is this company. We're not really strangers, and they just send out these cool free resources sometimes. We're going to be pulling from the Confidence Booster deck today because I just think that's a great way to end. So I'm just sort of
I
shuffling
agree.
up. If anybody like wants this PDF, by the way, go to their website and you can find it, or you can just email me and I'll just send it to you, whatever. Whatever's easier. All right, let me stop. I feel like this one gets pulled every time.
You pull a different one. I don't know which one it is, but
All right.
I'll tell you when to stop.
oh yeah. I like
All
that.
right. All right. And then I just pull right from the top. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotta have rules.
Watch it be the
All
same one.
right.
That'd be funny.
It's not, luckily.
Oh, that would be funny. Then we have to.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. What's something that you used to feel insecure about but don't anymore?
Even though I'm wearing my headscarf right now, I'm used to be very insecure about my hair. I have long, curly brown hair that has like in the summertime it has like sometimes has highlights, and I used to be very insecure about it. So I used to always wear hats and toques. I cut it short for years, but now I'm very proud of my long brown hair and how I take care of it.
That's awesome.
That's true. Pretty much all of your pictures have you with the beautiful hair. I always was envious of the volume.
Oh yeah, my hair just falls flat.
Yeah. I'm lucky I can at least set my hair in curls, but
Yeah. Well, Sarah, do you have something that you were insecure about and you aren't anymore?
I wasn't trying to co-opt the question. Did it sound like that?
No, I was just wondering.
No.
I was just wondering if you had something. I didn't feel like you were co-opting. I thought you were talking about hair, and then I was like, oh, maybe we can transition into then you answering it too.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So definitely my nose.
Mm.
I always thought it was too wide, but it fits
Hmm.
my face. And
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I
don't think I would prefer any other nose. So
you bring up a really good point of noses being meant for faces, and sometimes people get plastic surgery or filler or something
Mhm.
to get a nose shape that's not meant for their face, and it's fits the beauty standard, I guess, of what the nose should be, but then it disrupts the harmony of their face, and
Yeah,
also it
yeah,
gets rid of their heritage, so
like your nose goes so well with your smile, Sarah.
yeah,
balances.
the whole thing.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I think, yeah, I'm not really sure where that came from, but I think, I grew up in in a city, so I was around, a lot of people who were talking about their noses that were big. I grew up around a lot of stereotypes. My
Mhm.
dad is a super Italian, the dark skin kind, and so he's got that real prominent nose. And again, just always lots of attention being drawn to that. And I think we subconsciously internalize most of our
Yeah.
insecurities are somebody else's projections.
Well, I think even my hair, I think my mom growing up would straighten her curls. Like she would always
Mm.
straighten. And she's like, that's what I was told was professional.
Yep.
And then, so actually when I cut off my hair, I was like, oh, that's kind of a cute hairstyle. And it actually looks better on her though, the shorter hairstyle. And she was like, do I even have curls anymore? She was in it, wasn't even sure she had curls because she did it for so long. And my
Yeah.
dad's like, of course you have curls. Like, I'm sure they're beautiful. And then now she's been rocking them for the past 6 years,
Awesome.
right?
Unburdened.
So,
Unburdened by what has been.
what about you, Jay?
Just I really feel like over the last few years, with getting diagnoses, understanding what's going on, finding community with neurodivergent people and non-neurodivergent people who still just love me for me and celebrate my strengths and help me out if I'm struggling with something. I think that is something where I have finally gotten a really good kind of self-concept in terms of who I am as a person, and finally feeling like I'm being seen accurately, perceived accurately, and feeling just good about myself and the relationships that I have in my life and the found family that I have. And
Amazing. Thank you for sharing.
thank you for listening.
So relatable.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Sydney, thank you again for hanging out with us and
My pleasure.
sharing about your wonderful stories and accomplishments and your journey as a neurodivergent person. I'm sure that a lot of people listening will really glean a lot of value from what you've had to say, what you've from from what we've talked about today. So thank you.
Thanks for being here. If you want to connect with the Neurodivergent Report, you can find us at ND Report Pod on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Substack, etc.
If you're looking to support the show, the best thing you can do is subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Please do that.
And hey, if you want to check out more about us, visit our website at ndreportpod.com. And you can also go there if you want to be a guest contributor on the show.
Till next time, be well, do good.